Okay, today we're going to go and cover the Light project. Again, it's page 95 in the book here. The Light project, again, you create an app called Light that changes the screen from black to white and back again. Again, it seems very simple, but there's some certain things we'll learn. How to set breakpoints if you make a mistake, and so on. This project will involve modifying some code. Even though you're relatively new to Swift, don't be discouraged. If you struggle with the code, specifically pieces of the project, just keep at it. Okay, I know you're new. You've only been doing this a week, so don't stress about it yet. First thing you want to do is open up a new project. So we're going to do a new Xcode project. You can either click here, or if you don't get this new screen window up here in Xcode, you can always go under File, New Project. Okay, so either File, New Project, or you can click right here for a new Xcode project. It should come up with a window. Mostly what we're going to be doing again is a single view app. Again, it's highlighted already. It's an iOS single view app. I'm going to hit next. They tell you to call it Light, L-I-G-H-T. Make sure you know where it's going to go. After next screen, it'll ask you where you want to save it. So make sure you know where it's going. Right now it's just called Student because the computer is called Student. Whenever you see this, when you're logged in here, that this computer is logged in as a student here. If this was your computer, your name would probably be there, right? That's because this is the login person. Again, we're using Swift, and you don't have to really worry about the rest of these things right now. And the core data, you don't need that, but we want to keep these in there, so you can keep all that default. Hit next. Where do you want it to go? Again, I put a folder on the documents file with my name on it. That's where I've been putting it. So again, if you remember last class, I said, wouldn't it be great if you had a folder and you put all your stuff in there? Again, I recommend going to Documents, making a folder with your name on it, and then choosing that. You can turn off Git. You don't need Git right now. And then saving it in there. Again, this is the window that is basically how to set up your app. This is the main window. It seems like a lot to it. Let's not stress about it right now. Again, you know, there's a lot of little buttons and things that it's telling you to do. You don't need to know all this right now. Again, the default works just fine. I think I talked about capabilities last time. If you're using maps and stuff or health kit, you can turn them on here under capabilities and so on. But in the reading, it says first thing you want to do is click on the main storyboard, which is over here. So let's look at this window over here first today. And then we're going to be looking at a layered window. There's also another window we're going to look at today called the layer window. You guys all use layers in Photoshop, right? Yeah, some of us. Basically, it's like a folder and how you organize your files. Okay. First one is this one over here. Okay, so let's look at this one over here real quick. First one is this one right here. You'll notice how this one is blue up here in the upper corner. The reason why it's blue is because it's showing you all the files you have. All these files have been made automatically for you. Where are they stored? They're stored in that folder that you chose at the very beginning. It's in a folder called Light. Next, if you click on here, it'll show you some structures. We don't have no copies. This one is sort of a hierarchical structure of all the pieces. This one is you can search your files. This one is if you have a problem, it's going to give you an error and it's going to list the error here. This one is going to, I don't know what this one does. Here we go. It tells you which files and where they're located in the folder. And there's no debugging yet. This one will be a breakpoint. Today we're going to look at breakpoints and how to use breakpoints. Usually I don't use the breakpoints over here. I use them. There's going to be a window at the bottom that helps you debug. It's a debugging window that shows up at the bottom. And then this one is kind of notes. Okay, notes. If you're, a lot of times your computer will, when you're testing your app, it'll default to this because it had a bug. And here, and then you'll see a bunch of bugs, and you see a bunch of code in the middle of the screen. And you're like, where's my stuff? Okay, you might have seen that last class. The most important thing is always click on this folder that's all the way in the upper right corner, this one right here. If you click on that, it'll show you your folders, and then you can click on your main storyboard and go back to what you're normally looking at, which would be this. Okay? So click on the one that says main storyboard, or no, main storyboard, yes. Again, the first one is the first blue one all the way in the upper corner, main storyboard. Okay, next thing I wanted to talk about, again, like I was just saying, was layers. This program works by putting layers together. If you click over here, you should see a window that looks like this. Do you see one here? It says View Controller Scene. Do you see that? And if I twirl that triangle down right there, you'll see, you'll see a couple more little icons. You're like, I don't know what these icons do. Well, turn the one down that says View Controller. There's another triangle. There we go. And you can even turn the one down for there. Boom. Okay, so what are all these? Again, this is like what I was talking about in Photoshop. In Photoshop, we have layers of things. As we add things to this, we have a lot of things here. Think of that game that I showed you before where you have to choose a letter, right? The guessing game. Each one of those letters has to be stored somewhere. They're going to be in this list. So this window right here is very important because it allows you to help you select things. Because, it's really hard if you have a bunch of crap out here, a bunch of, interface things and stuff, to select something here. An easier place to select it would be over here. Same with Photoshop. If you have a bunch of stuff in your Photoshop file, the easiest place to find it is the layer window. In fact, we're going to name things. We're going to be dragging things from here also into the programming. Okay, so again, this window is the view controller scene. This is called the view controller here. This is the scene right here. Other things you'll notice is that there is an entry point. That's the arrow. Remember the arrow right here? Do you see that arrow? And an exit point. The reason why there's an entry and exit is that in programming you can tell things to do something before the screen is displayed, right? You want the graphics to be loaded. You want something to happen. You don't want to see a screen with nothing on it, right? So they do have ways of programming things, as well as when they exit. If you go from one screen, remember my example here where we had multiple screens inside of here. When you go from one screen to the other, you might need to take some data from one screen to the other. You can do that on an exit. So you'll be either sending data on an exit or bringing data in on an entry so that that data is there and ready and available for that screen. So that's sort of what some of these things are over there. Okay, let's get to the reading. Create a new Xcode project using a single view app template that you've used in previous lesson. Name that project Light. When you build and run the project, you'll notice there's nothing for the user to interact with. You'd be changing that soon. Select the main storyboard in the project navigator to open the storyboard interface builder. Here we go. In the initial interface created by Xcode is the view controller. It is a subclass of view controller. Okay, you notice there is this thing right here, view controller scene, view controller, then we have a view. This is a view on top of this view controller. You can almost think of this as a hierarchical structure. The view controller is like the main window right here, and then you have a view. If I click on that, you'll see the entire view. So I clicked here. Remember, I showed you to turn it. Then click on the safe area. Oh, what is the difference between view and safe area? Safe area is where it's below that bar, right? You have your AT&T or Sprint at the top right there, and then you have your little bars, right? So most of the things we put in the safe area, because the safe area is where it doesn't have that crap at the top with the battery and stuff, right? But of course, you might need to program things for the whole view, so that's why they have a whole view, safe area. So that's what the safe area is. Where we go? Oh, and that's what they were talking about here. I was already going through that with you. In the navigator, show document outline controllers, main storyboard. Here it is. Select the identify the top areas, particular control view controller. I just showed you that. If you're using the simulator, use the View As button at the bottom of the canvas to adjust the size of the canvas. Set the canvas size to iPhone XR configuration and select the iPhone 8 simulator from the drop-down menu towards the left end of the Xcode toolbar. If you're using that, what are they saying? Okay, well, what they're talking about here is that I can control the look of this window right here by coming down here, choosing what this is right here. Right now, it's iPhone 8. Notice down here at the very bottom, I know it's hard to see and my screen is not as big as yours, but if you look down here at the very bottom, I'm going to click on here where it says View as iPhone 8. Do you see that? If you click on that, you'll see there's a device and an orientation. The device, and if you click on there, it'll show you all the different devices. So when you're working with this window, you can work with a specific looking phone is what they're telling you. Okay, and of course they told us to put it into the XR, right? In the reading, right? So I'm going to go here to XR. The orientation, again, is just like it said. Do you want it in portrait or landscape? Notice how when I change that, this window might have changed a little bit. And I need to zoom out, and I don't have all that. If you might need to move the windows around. Right now it says 80%, so you're not looking at it at 100%. It's zoomed out, just like there's a magnification factor inside of Photoshop, right? There's a magnification factor here. If I zoom out, you'll see it zooms in. Notice how the window is different now because it looks more like the iPhone XR. What is it, XR? Yeah. Right? And that's the one that doesn't have the edge of the screen, right? It's the iPhone that goes all the way to the edge, right? So again, you can change the device down here. Also, you can change the preview device up at the top up there. That's what they're talking about in the reading. And you notice in the reading they said, oh, well, edit. I don't know why they're doing that. I think they're just trying to show you how to change these things. But they said change the preview, see the one in the very up top up there, to preview in iPhone 8. So if you come over here, up here, you can change that to iPhone 8. Two different ways of changing the view. And what is that one up there? That's when you simulate. So remember last class we clicked that arrow and went to the simulator? So you're looking at the view, you can change the orientation, and then you can do that. Change the simulator. That's what they were talking about in the reading. Okay, that's right here.
Why would you view it in one thing and then have it simulate in another?
Mostly because of positioning, maybe, or I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have an answer to why one or the other. Maybe the limitations of one device over another. So again, they told us set the canvas size to XR configuration and select the iPhone 8 in the simulator, which we just did. If you're using your own device for this project, the size of the view controller may not be identical to the size of your screen. Use the View As button at the bottom of the canvas to adjust the size of the canvas to match your device. So you can do it mathematically, I guess. Select the view controller view and then select the attributes inspector, which will allow you to customize the attributes for an interface element. The background color for this view has already been set to white. That is the desired state of your app on launch, so you don't need to change anything right now. Next, you'll add a button that we'll use to change the view background color, simulating a light turning on and off. Okay, so what are they talking about here? So let's get back to the window here. Okay, take a breather for a minute, as I know there's a lot. You can get used to it. Just like Photoshop, you get used to it eventually. So let's look in the upper left, or right corner, the upper right corner. There's a lot of little icons that go across, not the very top, kind of the white area there where you see the one that looks like a page and then a question mark and then this one and then that one and that one and that one. They all do different things and they change the look of this window. Right now the default look is the basic look of the app itself, okay, and it's called Identity and Type. I usually don't have this up. Next, if you click on the question, you can actually go and search the documentation for Xcode. So if you're looking for something, you can actually search. It's like a help option. That's why it's a question mark, okay? And you can go down here and open a developer documentation. So today we're going to be looking at background color. So if I click and open the developer's documentation, it opens up here. You can type in what you want. I'm looking today to change the background color, so I'm going to type in background color. Well, just background, we can look. And we got background. These are all different background ways. You should be able to type in background color. See, there it is. OLOR. And it's... Notice how it says background with a capital C, background color. And so it's part of the UI kit, Apple kit right here. And if I click on there, it'll tell you there. So today we'll be programming it. It's going to look like this. And make sure you see how it's spelled. We're going to be programming the background color with a capital C. And then you have your attributes here. And I'm going to make it red or green or blue. Notice there's a dot there too. So if I'm going to say background color, I'm going to change the background color. I'm going to put a period and then red, green, or blue, something like that. You can use solid colored words. You can also use hexadecimal values, I believe. I know RGB values. I'm just showing you where you can find information. This is very useful. You can see all the different things inside of Swift in here. Again, that was under the question mark down here at the very bottom. You got to scroll down a little bit. That's documentation. This next one right here, let's not go into that one right now. That's not going to help us. The most important one is this one right here, the one that looks like a page peel that's going down. Do you see it? I'm going to click on this attribute, and then I'm going to click on my view. So again, remember this, not the safe area, the view over here. I'm going to click on the view here, and this one right here is called the Attributes Inspector. The Attributes Inspector is where you set most of your attributes for your device before you even start programming. What if you wanted to have your app with a just a red background? I would set it here. It'll set it. You don't ever have to program it. It'll always have a red background. You can see it right there where it says background right there, custom. You'll notice there's also an alpha. Alpha would be transparency, and then there's a tint and so on. So this is a place, and we tend to use the Attributes Inspector most of the time. Whenever I click on text, text will have attributes to it, or a picture have attributes. So that one's mostly. The next one is how the position is. Remember I talked about the auto layout. That was the term I was trying to explain to you before. Auto layout. The next one is the actual auto layout. That's why it looks like a little ruler. See it right here. You'll notice, see the little red bars? Remember I talked about the red eye bars? This is how you will, right now we don't have anything to position yet, but this is where it'll help you position something on the screen. So again, you have your attributes. You got the first one. The one I use most is these two, probably this one and this one. This one. And then this one is when it leaves. Show the connection inspector. It'll show you when you go from one screen to the other. Okay, let's continue with the reading. Next, you'll add a button that will use to change the view of the background color, simulating a light turning on and off. Locate the object library in the bottom right corner of the utilities panel as you learned earlier in the lesson. It's not in the bottom right corner. This is a newer version. It's up here, right here. See it right up here? If you click on the library up here, you'll have your button right here. There's your button right there. And in your button, I'm going to drag it out onto the screen. I'm going to put it in the upper right corner here. Notice when you put the button on the screen, you'll notice it shows up over here as one of the elements. You see it there, called button. Okay, so again, that's a place where you can select things as you go along. Next, I'm going to go to the next screen. We put a button on there. Notice how the button is there. We already just saw that. We put it in the upper left corner. You'll now need to bring open the programming window. If you remember how to bring the programming window together, again, to bring the programming window up, you're going to go to the Olympic symbol. Remember this one right here? I kind of called it the Olympic symbol. Do you remember that? If you click on that, it'll open up the programming. And so you'll notice you have, and I don't have a lot of real estate on my window here, but I got my programming here and there. You guys want to take a break for a minute? I see everybody going here. Let's take a break and we'll come back and finish this. How about that? Some people have to go to the restroom. I'm going to go to the restroom myself. How about that? Oh, thank you. I'll pause my recording. Thank you. Let's pause the recording. There we go. Okay. Let me open up the example here so you can see what it'll look like, so you can see where the stuff should go. And you can open up more than one project at a time. So if I look at the programming here for this one, this is what the programming will look like. And so in this case, we'll be writing, there'll be an action and an outlet both. Okay, because the button is going to be pressing as well as changing. because we want to be able to change the text from on to off and off to on. So we're going to do two things. You see, we got outlet as well as an action. Okay. Then you'll notice this update UI where we could put this if statement inside here, but a better way, and that's what I was trying to explain to you earlier, that you can organize your code a little bit better by using this. They make this function here called update UI, which then does this, and it makes this easier if it's smaller, basically. So you could take this update UI and put a word to it, and then take that word and put it into the programming for the action. Remember last class when we put the action, we changed the text, we put changing the text in the button that can be clicked. So here's the click part, and if this is met, this is a Boolean. If it's on, then update the UI. Okay, so that's sort of what it looks like. Okay. Notice the code is all underneath the override view did load. What the view did load right here is the page displayed, right? So I just wanted to point out so you could see where we put it. So again, here we go. We're going to drag our code inside here below this line right here. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can see my button. If I can move my window around enough here. I can't get to the zoom. Here's the zoom. Oh, Jesus Christ. So in this case, here's my button in the upper corner. I didn't get any position yet. I was going to show you that, but that's just going to add some more complexity. So we want to drag this into here and give it an outlet. So an outlet right here, and we're going to call that outlet light button. Again, an outlet. So here we go. When you release the mouse cursor, you'll be prompted to create an outlet or define as an action. Change the connection type to action, then set the name to button pressed. When you click the connect button, Xcode will create a new method that will be called whenever the button is tapped. You may notice that the action keyword right before the button pressed method AIB action signals to Xcode that relationship can be created between a visual element and a storyboard and function. So in this case, we want to have button pressed. This is the second one, is the outlet. So the first one is the action. So again, we're going to drag it. Make sure you call it button pressed with a capital P. You see that right there, button pressed right there. And it's going to be an action. So again, I'm going to click on it right here, the button. I got my programming up on this side over here. I'm going to hold down the control key and click and drag down into this area below this, above where it says view did load and below here. If I left my left mouse up, it's going to ask me what to call it, and it was called button press, capital P-R-E-S-S-E-D, pressed. And it's an action first. We're going to do one action, button pressed. Don't worry about changing the text. We'll get to that next. First, we want to just change the background color.
My whole button's moving. It's not giving me that line I did like last time. When I hit on the button.
Hold on. Okay, you want to hold the control key down on the keyboard. Okay, so
it's dragging the whole thing.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Put it there. Hold the control key
Oh,
down.
that's right. Okay.
And click and
Got it.
drag.
Okay, that's
And then
awesome.
below. Right, yeah, anywhere there.
Okay.
Button pressed.
Got the control.
Did you get the button pressed? Are you working on your did you get it in the right spot? Yes. You guys got it all button pressed? Okay, let's make the background change. Here we go. Here we go. So we want to change the background color. Next, we're going to go. And so, we don't have to go through this right now. They want to build and run the app. When you press the button, nothing happens because there's no code in the button press. I think you understand that already. Then you can place a breakpoint in there, and they're telling you how to put a breakpoint in. We'll do that again in another one. If the light is on, that is the background color is white, then the light should be switched off. Otherwise, if the light is off, the background black is on, then the light should be switched on. The statement light is on is either a true or false statement, so it would make sense to use a Boolean to determine how to change the background color. Near the top of the view controller class definition, create a variable called light on and set the initial value to true since the screen starts off with a white background. Okay, so up here towards the top is where I'm going to write so again, I'm going to go all the way up here towards the top in the programming, in the code here. And in that code, we're going to make a variable, and that variable is going to be called light on equals 2. So again, we're going to make a variable var space, again, towards the top, up here, not up here, down. And if you start getting error messages, it's the reason why it's doing that is because it's running code as you're typing. So you get these little red exclamation points. Don't stress about it yet. You haven't finished writing your variable at this point. And then type in light on with a capital O-N. And then I'm going to equal that to true. Okay? And once I do that, then the error messages go away. So what we're doing here is first we're making a variable called light on and we're giving it a value of true. Next we're going to come down here and test to see, okay, down in the button. So everybody got where to put the variable. Did you see that? Right below the view controller right here. Class, view controller, right below that. Next, each time the button is tapped, the value would change from true to false or from false to true. Swift Booleans have a method, a toggle, that does precisely this. Since the button pressed method is called whenever the tap is executed, make the change there. So light on toggle. Do you see that right there? Light on dot toggle. Light on dot toggle. And then they're going to write an if statement right here. Okay, so the toggle means it's going to flip from on to off to on, off to on. It's basically true to false, false to true each time. It's basically the word toggle means switch. So right now we're telling it to be true, right? So it's true. When you press it, it'll be false. But when you press it again, it'll be true. When you press it again, it'll be false. So what you want to do inside the button press programming, you want to write this code right here. Here we go. Down here where the action is, in the squiggly line right here between the I'm going to hit return right here because between this squiggly line and this one is where you want to write the function for this. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is light on toggle. Light on, capital O-N. Okay, dot toggle, T-O-G-G-L-E. And it's going to round bracket, round bracket. Next, just like we learned in the programming, we're going to write an if statement. If the light is on, true. Remember, true. If the light is on is true, then the background color should be white. Else, if the background color is not, if it's not true, it should be black. Just like we learned in the programming. So if light on, and then again round bracket, and then this is the program I showed you. View, okay. Background color was the and you put color is equal to, and then a dot white, and then we're going to hit a squiggly line, and then else, and then we're going to say view dot background color with a capital C is equal to black. Oh, lowercase. Again, make sure you have all the curly brackets. If curly bracket view dot background color is white, if it's true, else it's going to be black. So just like we learned in our programming. And this should work right now. If I save this, I'm going to save my file in case it blows up. And then preview it. I'm going to preview in my iPhone 8. And I'll bring up the code again. Here's my button. If I click on it, boom, it goes black. I click on it, boom, it goes white. Black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. That's the toggle. On, off. True. Well, this is false. This is true. Because remember, we set it to true here, right? Variable light on true. That's why it's white the first time. Background color, right? But if you click on it, and you make it false, the background color would be black. So that's where our if statement comes in to change the graphic. So see if you can get that. I'll leave the code up there and I'll come around and help you. Then we'll learn how to make the code a little bit cleaner by using the update UI instead of that. Okay, let me see. Here's the code. Make sure you write it in the right spot. Does it work? Okay. Does it work? Did yours start going on and off? Okay. Okay, let me see. First, let me. Okay, tested now. It was just a misspell. It happens. You guys got lights on and off? Okay, very easy. Okay, now we're going to do a simulator here. You have to click on the simulator. Let it load. Here it comes. And then the button will pop up. There you go. Then click the button. And click it. So the toggle true, false. Basically, it's true, false, true, false. Okay, here we go. So once you have the button up there, okay, once you have the button up there, we want to do what? We want to change the text to on and off, as well as we want to update the UI. And we learned how to change the text last class, didn't we, right? So first thing we're going to do is talk about how to do the update UI. So if we come over here to the thing, you'll notice right here, as your application continues to grow in size, it becomes very important to make sure that your code stays nice and organized. Rather than putting the if statement directly inside the button press method, you can move it to a new method that will handle updating the entire user interface. Create a new method called update UI and move it to the if statement inside of it, then call the update UI method within the button pressed. And so again, the reason why you might do something like this is because you might be doing more than one thing, right? But right now, we're just doing one thing, right? We're changing the background color. But what if when you press that button, you also want to change something else at the same time, right? Maybe something comes on the screen, or maybe an animation happens and stuff. And so you're going to start building and putting all that stuff inside here. It's easier to put it into what we call a function here, and we're going to call that function update UI. And then you can put all the things that you wanted to do when the person presses the button all together, and then take this word and put it in there. If that makes sense. Okay, so here we go. Very easily, I'm going to use the copy and paste idea here. But don't worry if you start getting error messages and stuff like that. So again, it's called function update UI. So I'm going to highlight everything from, of course, you leave the light on again. Where was I? Toggle. Oh, they also got rid of the light on toggle. They also went to more of another way of writing the Boolean is to instead of using the word toggle, they have light on equals not equal to, and so on. You see that right there? I don't know if we should keep that or not. Let's see. They don't tell me. I don't know if that matters or not. See how they got rid of the toggle here? There's the toggle, but then they changed it to a
Try it with the toggle first.
what's that?
You should try with the toggle first.
Yeah. I'm just pointing out that they adjusted this to a different way of doing it without telling you that. Okay, so let's take the if statement. So where the if word is, I'm going to go all the way down to the curly brackets that you need there, which would be this one right here. And I'm going to cut that. To cut it, we're going to use the Command X. Command X cuts the code. Then I'm going to go below this button. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Below this one right here, below this curly bracket, so you can organize your stuff here. And we're going to type in the word function, F-U-N-C. So below this curly bracket, F-U-N-C, which is a function, and we called it update UI. Update UI is all capital letters. Then you put a round bracket right after that. Then I'm going to hit space bar, and then I'm going to hit Command V to paste. And oh, I needed to put this on the second line, and then we need a curly bracket here as well, and then another one at the end. Did that work? Let me see. Function update UI, curly bracket, if light on, curly bracket, view background color white, else view background color black. And then, so this curly bracket, this one relates to that, this one relates to this, and then this one relates to the top one. Next, you're going to go and put the update UI right here underneath the light on toggle, and you just put the word update UI just like you wrote it below, update UI, round bracket like that. And so then this function that you see right here will be done up here. And we can test it again and see if that works, and I'll come in around and help you and see if you did it right. Hold on, let me test mine. Should do the exact same thing, but this time the update UI might be doing more things than just changing the background color. So here again, boom, boom. Still does the same thing. Again, it does the same thing. So let me make my window bigger so you can see it. Make sure you have all the round brackets. So how do you know if you got the right round brackets going with the right stuff? Notice when I highlight a round bracket or put my cursor by it, it shows you which one it's going to. This one relates to this one, this one relates to this one, this one relates to that one, this one relates to this one, and so on, and this one relates to that one. So see if you can follow that code right there. Make sure you have the round brackets, curly brackets in the right spot. Is that the way? Good. You guys all right back here? Okay. Last thing, woo, we're almost done. That's a long morning. Monday. We come here on Monday morning, don't we? Whoosh. Okay, last thing is we're going to change the text. Okay, change the text. And we learned how to change the text last class. Okay. So next, part 3. Update the button text. You've now successfully set the button to change the background color of the view, but the title of the button text remains the same no matter what state the light is at. There's no way to reference your newly created button in the code. You must first create an outlet to the button, drag the button to the interface builder in an empty space at the top of the view controller definition in the editor's area. In the popover, verify that the outlet is selected under connection and enter light button in the name field. The popover menu should look like this. And of course, this is wrong. Okay. So they made a mistake here. This window right here should be over there, and then this window over here should be over there. Just pointing out, the book has a lot of errors in it. I found them all, don't worry. I know where they're at, okay? So I'll tell you where some of them are as we go along, okay? This one right here should be over there, and this one, that other one. So again, it should look like, not like that, it should look like this. outlet light button there. Where do we drag this? Well, we're going to drag it into an area above the code here. So you want to put it up here above the action. So you might want to put some space. I'm going to put it above the action. I'm going to make some space here above the action one right here. Above this action one. To drag it again, I'm going to hold down the control key and drag above the action one. Release the left mouse, and I'm going to choose outlet. And what did they say to call the outlet again? I forgot what they call it. What did they call it? Not button pressed. Light button with a capital B. So here we're going to call it light, L-I-G-H-T button, B-U-T-T-O-N, like that, light button. It's an outlet, light button, connect. Here it is. Okay, now we can control the text. Of course, it's called light button. Where would we put this? Where do you think? What do you think down here in the update UI, right? So if it's white, we want to turn it off. Let's not even look at the text. Let's see if we can figure this out without reading the book, right? Let's figure it out without reading the book. So if it's a white background, we want to put the word off on there. And if it's off, if it's a black background, we want to put on. Because if it's black, you want to turn it on. If it's white, you want to turn it off. So if we put it in here, we can change the text by using this word. Remember, what was the code that we used last class to change the text? Well, we're going to figure this out without reading the book. What was it? Text? Do you remember the line that we used last class? Here, let's get the handout. Here we go. Whoosh. Okay, here we go. We're not doing the book. Here it is. Let's go. We called it change text here, but what would we call it here? It's not change text. It's called light button, right? The button, we're using this word. So we would use light button dot text equals on. Light button dot text off. And then of course you can change the color as well in the same spot, right? I was going to make you a copy of this. I'm so sorry I didn't yet, but when we're done I will. So we're using the same line that we use here and use it in the update UI section. There we go. So if it's white, we want the text to be what was that? What did I just say? We called it light button. Light button, B-U-T-T-O-N. Dot. What is it gonna be? Text. And we're gonna set that equal to off. Because you want to turn it off. No, that didn't work. What's that?
It doesn't have a text.
Oh, it doesn't have a text? Maybe I did it wrong. Maybe I should get to the reading then. I thought we could do it without having to cheat. What's that? Oh, yours. I'll help you there. View background color. Look, they're changing view background color. Okay, let's not do that then. But I wanted to change the text. If lights on, no. Button text. Change text. Change text. UI label. Oh, I called it a button. That's why. It should be a label. Whoosh. Okay, that was my mistake. Let me go back in time. I'm going to go back. Go back. Go back.
The book has it as a button.
Yeah, but it should be a label. Yeah, that's the problem, is that the example we did last class was a label. Yeah. Let me read the book. Yeah, it won't let us do that. We'll have to do that. Okay, we could just finish that next class. How about that for now? You guys want to just wait? Because it's going to take another hour probably to get through all the stuff. How about if I make you a copy of this, though? I think the way I'm trying to do it, you can't do because it's a button. If it was a label, it would work. But you'll notice right here, you see how they need to make a variable. Well, you already have it, the light button here, and then set text title to off, and then for normal. We'll just wait till next class to do that. You want to do that? What I want you to do in lab time is I want you to do the 3 and 4 in the handout or the thing. So save your file, and we'll finish next time because we're running out of time. It's already 11:07. So when you save that, we'll come back to that. And what I want you to do today, and it's very simple stuff. But what's the important thing about the lab work today, let me just show you that for now. What's really important is that it's showing you how to customize. So again, I want you to do O3 string playground and hello world playground. You see that, 3 and 4? If you don't have these files, you can download them off the thing. So if you go to this one and open it, it's pretty simple. It talks just about strings. There's 16 of them. And it just tells you some of the things you already know, but it's important to understand the difference and talk about different ways of controlling. Talks about emojis and so on. So if you could read through this and try some of the things that are listed here, and it'll ask you to type them in and they'll show up over here. So see if you can try number 3. And then number 4 doesn't really have you do much, but what number 4 does is it shows you how to customize your Xcode. So it goes through and says how you can change the color in Xcode. So all you have to do is just go into Xcode, tells you how to change the font, the color, and how to customize the program, and so on. So you might want to customize your Xcode. It also has a little video that shows you how to move things around and shows you how to bring things up. So again, I think it's important just to go through these 2 right now, and we'll finish the light project next class. Okay? I will come and help you if you didn't get it to turn toggle on and off. Let me stop my video for now.